Greetings, everybody. This is Laz with NBNN, and we are here today introducing Duke Ezekiel Cooper to the world. Duke, where are you? I know you're out there hiding someplace behind that screen. Come on out, say hello to everybody.
What's going on, guy?
How are you there today, Duke? Thanks for joining us.
Doing all right.
You can go ahead and just wave hello to everybody there on camera. Say hello. And of course, we have a special guest joining us today. We have sitting with us in the wings is Xavier Xavier Starfall, also with the BMC. But our focus today is going to be here on the Duke. Now, of course, first off, for everybody out there, everybody's probably going, "Holy shit, he looks like the Duke I see in game." And of course, that is one of the actual surprises of the world. I'm not the only one who wears a hat. And of course, the Duke is a regular old guy just like everybody else. The crown doesn't seem to mean a whole lot to him. So I'm going to start on that one for you there, Duke. Tell us a little bit about the hat, why you shunned the crown, and you know what that means to you and the BMC in general.
Well, to be honest with you, I like the style of the hat when it first came out during Thanksgiving last year. That and everybody kind of nicknamed me the Duke. And with John Wayne always being the Duke and everybody calling everybody a pilgrim, it kind of went hand in hand.
And it stuck.
Yeah, it stuck.
Yeah, and everybody gets a kick out of that when they see the Duke walking around. The Duke's famous for taking baths in his fountains naked with his hat and boots on. Texas style out there.
Right.
Okay, so let's go ahead. Go ahead.
And I'll tell you another reason why is because it keeps me. I don't like feeling highfalutin. All right, if that makes any sense. I like to stay to where the membership can come to me, the membership can talk to me, keep an open door policy with the membership to a certain extent.
You want to stay grounded, basically.
Right. I want to stay grounded. I don't want to feel like I'm out there.
You don't want people thinking that, just because you're a Duke, that you're any different from the other guy. You put your pants on one leg at a time like everybody else.
That's exactly right.
Gotcha. Now, the BMC has a very long history, as we know, and that's part of what we're going to delve into today. The BMC traces its roots back to UO even before Ultima Online, I understand. Is that correct?
That is correct. Actually, Origin Systems founded UO, or not UO, well, they founded that too, but BMC in Ultima 7. There is some speculation that it was founded in Ultima 4, but I can't find documentation to that effect. But it is for a fact that it was in Ultima 7. And it's funny the way that kind of went about. When I first came into UO, it was in '97, and Army Barracks. And a buddy of mine, a roommate of mine, he got the game. He bought it right after release, came off the shelf. He came in, plugged it into his computer, and started playing it. Well, I'm sitting over on my rack, and I'm seeing it, and I liked it. And so while he was on duty, I would be off duty playing UO on his account, which is at Baja Shard. And when I was on duty, he was off, and he would be playing on his account on Baja Shard. Later, there's somebody that most people don't know about me is that first music when the chest first opened,
right?
That music captivated me. Stones, it captivated me, and it just never let me go. Getting back to what I was saying, he would play, I would play, on duty, off duty, and I wound up getting a copy myself in 1998 and started playing. Right. Well, back then you couldn't hardly make a living. I mean, you had PKers outside of Brit all the time, retain. And so you couldn't hardly make a living. You'd go out in the woods, you'd cut trees, you'd run up to the mines up in the northern part, north of Britt, and mine. And you'd hardly get back to town to smelt your ore, and you'd be PK'd, and all your profit was gone. It's very hard. It's tough. So what happened is that me and a buddy of mine, we floated out of the docks of Britain. And what I did, as a matter of fact, hold on just a second. Let me show you something.
All righty.
Let me kill this video for just a second. Be right back.
Not a problem. We're here. And while you're doing that, let's just take a moment to say hello to Xavier. If you could just say hello to folks out there, Xavier.
Hello. Of course, I'd like to say hi, Mom. I'm on NBNN.
Hang on there.
Be here with you, Les.
There we go. Let's just get you up there real quick. Thanks for joining us today. Now, real
Good
quick,
to be
while
here.
he's doing that, your position with the BMC officially is, tell the folks out there.
I am the Vice President of the BMC. So I've kind of started with Ezekiel here back at right around Christmas or New Year's, and just slowly as he built the guild here and Shroud of the Avatar, and started as a member and officer and the guild steward, and became the vice president when it position presented itself, and just glad to be here. And just real quick backstory on me with him. I actually played Ultima Online UO from like 2003, 2006 up, and in 2008 actually met him in game and knew the BMC very well in UO. I wasn't a part of the guild in UO, but I knew him very well and actually knew Ezekiel there, and of course did some business with him, buying lots of ingots and other resources. But so I was definitely proud to be on board with him once I met with him up here in Soda, Shroud of the Avatar.
Yeah, the Duke and I have a story, and thank you for that. We're going to pop back and forth between the two of you, but again, mostly the focus is here to introduce the Duke. Of course, this is your first time live on camera in front of the world. Is that correct there?
That is correct. That is
so
correct.
Everybody's seen this gruffy-looking guy running around, running this gilding game, and they go, look at this guy, and of course, we wanted to present the Duke as he really is, and of course, Duke doesn't need to actually have that headshot done for him by Portalarium that his Duke pledge gives him, because as you can all see, he looks like his character, which is what really I loved so much when I first saw Duke on camera.
Right.
Now the Duke and I have a funny story, and before we get into the whole BMC, because this is something both you and I love to talk about, and that is the symbiotic relationship with NBNN and the BMC.
Yeah.
Now I became a member. I became gung-ho here back in January, and I quickly climbed the ranks to where I am as a guild emissary and guild notary with you guys, and I'll never change it for another thing. I'd do it all over again and plus some. But I was telling Duke one night how much I was enjoying all this great stuff in this game, how much I love this shit, and I was just getting started with streaming, and I says, I just see the availability of all sorts of things in here. I could become like the next Howard Stern, next multimedia empire in Shroud of the Avatar. And of course a lot of people laughed and giggled, and Duke and I sat there tossing names about one night, and we were just laughing for shits and grins, and all of a sudden the Duke stops me and he goes, whoa, stop, hold on. He says, I got something. And he sits there and he just thinks for a second, and he goes, NBNN, the New Britannia News Network. And I just stopped right there and I says, Zeke, you're a effing genius. I says, that's it. I says, I already see the vision in my head. All he had to do was spit out those words, and an hour later NBNN was born. And
Absolutely.
And it was really started as a thing just to show some adventures and have a good time, and one thing led to the other, and here we are today. NBNN is a very prominent news organization here in the game now. We're doing all sorts of interviews, shameless self-promotion there. We have Richard Garriott coming up August 20th here
Very
on NBNN,
nice.
and we are working to get Tracy Hickman. Tracy has agreed to an interview as well. And we do, of course,
Awesome.
aside from that, we do guild leaders, town owners, and all that stuff as we go, and it's grown into quite the actual business and organization. I spend just as much time running this now as you spend running the BMC. I mean, it's not just something we do for the love, and it's not something that,
It's
I mean, it's something actually we do for the love. It's not something we do because we have to. Is what I
right. It's
really
a lot
meant
of
to
work.
say. Yes, but it is a job in itself, and it is
Sure.
it is taxing at times, but it's something that gives us immense pleasure in doing what we do.
Absolutely.
So moving on.
Now,
Go
but
ahead.
now, what you're talking about the way NBNN was born, that is quite the way BMC was born, aside from being created by Origin Systems.
Correct.
Getting back to the story I was telling you, we were in Brit, right? And couldn't make no gold. Couldn't make no gold. I ran into a guy in north of Brit whacking on the side of a mountain, and that kind of generated an idea inside my head. I was like, So then later, I was running behind the music conservatory there in northern Brit, right around the corner from H&A, or Hammer and Amber.
I'm a
And, okay.
as
That's where,
is many a UO player.
Absolutely. UBB used to sit out there and give free repairs. Well, I was running behind the music conservatory one day, and I saw this guy. I saw this guy standing there, and he had like 15 pack horses, right, lined up. I mean, they were side by side, lined up, right there behind the music conservatory. And this one guy was standing out in front of the horses holding the lantern, right? And I was like, well, what a spectacular sight. So I stopped, and I asked the guy, I said, so what are you doing? What is all this? And I'm a very young player at this time, and it was the first time I had ever played any type of Ultima at all. I never played Ultima 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and very little of 9, but I was always in UO. So I asked this guy, I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm waiting on my friends, and we're going to go out and we're going to go mining. I said, really? He said, yeah. He says, safety in numbers, this, that, and other. I'm like, yeah, that's outstanding, is what that was. So
Right.
that's where the idea started in me. Not a bad idea. Mining, putting things together, and then it occurred to me. And I got to looking at the mechanics. I got to looking at the way UO was built. You couldn't do a damn thing in that game without an ingot. You couldn't make.
That's right.
You couldn't make a tailoring kit. You couldn't make You couldn't make anything. You couldn't do anything in that game. You couldn't make a smith hammer. You couldn't make a saw to build the
Couldn't
other
make
things,
your
the
carpentry tools. Exactly, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You couldn't do anything without a damn ingot. So I said, that's it. That's it. So I got with this friend of mine, and I said, hey, you know what? We're going to start whacking on the side of these mountains, and we're going to, for whatever it takes, we're going to start trying to bring ore and ingots to the market. They go, okay. So we couldn't do anything. We couldn't make no money. We couldn't make no gold. So I sit there and I told him, I said, look, we're going to have to go through sweat and blood to get this, but what we need to do is we need to scrounge up enough gold that we can actually buy a ship and a 7x7 wooden shack, right? And he said, oh, okay, so we're doing this thing, and we're bringing all the stuff back in and into town, what we survived to bring in and whatnot. We finally got enough gold put together, and we bought a ship, a little small dragon ship, and we bought a little 7x7 wooden shack, right? And using this map right here.
Yes.
Okay. And you can still see I've got the pewter pin right there in the corner.
Uh-huh.
See that? All right, using this map right here, I plotted a course because I didn't know about a sextant at that time, and I didn't really know what the coordinates and everything. So using this map, I plotted the course to Ice Island, Dagger Island, right?
Right.
So we set sail out of Britain, all right? out of the south end of Britt, and we sailed using that map. And when we hit the shores of Ice Island, we were the only ones there. The only ones there. With a house, had a boat, and a big-ass mountain, right? Not a soul there. Nobody.
A shack, a
Absolutely.
boat, a bunch of people, and a mountain. That's it.
Yeah, it was two guys, a 7x7 shack, all right, and a boat, and some pickaxes, okay? And we started hitting that mountain, and we started stockpiling our ore in the house. And we brought a forge and, you know, the necessities that you would need.
Started building,
you know,
building a little smithing area, right?
Right. You know, and plus I think they had a public, they had a public smithing area on the Atlantic Shard, because that's the shard that I went on when I got into UO myself. When I left Baja from my friend's account and got my own account, I went on to Atlantic. And so anyway, we're whacking the hell out of this mountain, and we're smelting the ore, and we're making ingots, but we're stockpiling ingots, right? And we stay up there, and we stayed up there for 3 months solid. Not a soul in sight. Nobody.
No kidding.
We rounded up so many ingots, all right, and we hauled them back on that boat, okay, because we weren't mages, we were miners. You see what I mean? And so we hauled them back on that boat. And when we got to Britt, when we got back to Britt, 3 months later, this is 3 Earth months later, all right, we had ingots all over that boat, right? And 60,000, you know, you could only stack 60,000 at a time. But we would click and drag, and we had that boat full of ingots.
You would hopscotch.
We got back, oh, man. Hopscotching.
Now, of course, we got a comment from the Peanut Gallery real quick going, did you name it Brokeback Mountain?
Come on, man.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm just giving you the feedback. You told me this is no holes barred, so you know we're gonna have some people poking some fun.
You betcha.
And we're here to have the fun, so let's not.
You bet. So when we get back to Britt, right? This is how we met the UBB, the United Blacksmiths of Britannia. We started supplying them. Okay, we sold out all those ingots, right? And we bought, when we, you know, I looked at my buddy afterwards. I said, man, this is outstanding. You know, we really made a haul here. And so I told him, I said, well, we need to, you know, form a guild. He said, yeah, I guess we do. So we went and bought a stone. We get back up there with all our gold, you know, bags and bags and bags of gold, right? And we set this stone up in this 7x7 shack. It's a little wooden shack, all alone, backed up against the mountain. And so we started kicking it around. I was like, well, before we place this stone, what are we going to call ourselves? Who are we? You know? He says, well, I don't know. So I throw the name out there, Britannian Corporation, Mining Corporation. He came back with some other name. I came back with one, but finally, when it slipped right off my tongue, I said, Britannian Mining Company. Now, bear in mind, this was done. I had never played any of the Ultima series.
So you
I
were
didn't
unaware.
know what I was talking.
Yeah.
I was unaware. I did not know. It just slipped right off my tongue. And he said, King, that's it. So we placed the stone and named the guild June 6th, 1998. And I didn't realize what I had until a tank mage. I guess as another month or so later, people started coming to Ice Island and started placing homes. And a tank mage was up there, and he was walking around doing his thing, and he saw us inside the house, and he stopped out front. Now, back then, see, here we are on this island, no healers, and so I was like, don't open the door, dude. And he was like, yeah, man, it's rude, you know, we're becoming something here. So we opened the door, and it's this tank mage dressed in full plate with a wizard hat on named Roach. And he's like, that's a pretty nice name y'all came up with, you know. And I'm like, well, thanks, you know. I didn't know what he was talking about.
Right.
He's the guy. He gave us the history that very day. He said, yeah, that was a guild in the Ultima series. When I realized that, and realized the fortuity well, the luck that just slipped off my tongue, and the guild was born online, and realized realized the significance of that it carried over a mantle from the PC standalone games over into the online world.
Now, this was all totally unintentional, of course. This was just something that...
Yeah, it's just all luck of the draw.
One game to the other, yeah, exactly. Which is sort of what makes it really a fantastic story, you know.
Right. So ever since then, when I realized the significance of the guild, I've been very protective of it. First, I have always given credit to where credit was due. That is to Origin Systems, Richard Garriott, Starlong, the developers of Origin Systems that created Britannian Mining Company and Ultima 7, if that was in fact the first time that BMC was mentioned or around. We're investigating it. We're trying to find out, if Ultima 4 might have been,
right. Now, I was going to say
they were around. We're trying to get further back and find out, but I've always accredited the formation. The guild is Richard Garriott's. Origin Systems created it. What I did is I just basically stumbled across a name, and I was in the middle of trying to find a good name for a guild when I stumbled across BMC, and the rest is history.
And there it is. Now, I see Abercrombie sitting out here. We have a little bit of a crowd gathering in front of us outside the shop here. We have quite a few viewers out there watching, and I'm just going to put this out to our viewers that we are taking questions for the Duke here in Twitch chat. So
sure.
If you have any questions, please go to twitchtv.com or twitch.tv/nbnn.news, I should say. Or go to nbnn.info, click on the video, it'll bring you right in there, and you can access the chat there. But I see Abercrombie out here, and Abercrombie posed a question yesterday. So first question from the field, boxers or briefs?
Okay.
And
well, when I wear underwear, it's briefs.
I said he's got to answer naked, commando.
You bet.
And there you go, Abercrombie, there's that question. And then I had another question from Briar Vesper, and of course this was pertaining to the shop in Black Rock Cove. I guess there was a little conversation you two had, and you had to cut him a little short yesterday, the day before. Because he's real hip on building that cafe in Black Rock Cove when we open it up down there. Yes, yeah. So,
yes.
So he was curious whether he was going to be able to build that or all that good stuff, and how we were going to commence with that. So let's segue into Black Rock Cove. Why don't you tell us a little about what's going on for the BMC? Talk about the location where Black Rock Cove is on the map, and what the plans, in general, what the guild is going to be doing out of Black Rock Cove, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. Black Rock Cove is located just north of the Quail, just east of Crag Mine entrance, the eastern entrance. It's situated right there in a valley. The good folks down there at Port Alarium were gracious enough to give us that spot per our request, and we appreciate that very much. And Black Rock Cove will be situated right there at the cove. In fact, it's on the map now. It's not exactly built yet, because I wasn't diligent on getting everything into Star before they were able to come out with this release.
Well,
but it is on the map.
We didn't know exactly what was happening this release. We had hints,
right.
So yeah, had we known, but anyway.
Well, I knew, but I did not have all my ducks in a row as far as, we got a 500 and some odd member guild here, all right? And I'm trying to juggle cannonballs with chicken grease on them, because I'm trying to take care of the guild and take care of getting everything squared away as far as Black Rock Cove is concerned, and the nesting and connected towns. What Black Rock Cove is well, it's situated right there north of Quell, east of the eastern entrance of Craig Mines, and it is right now connected to Black Rock Point. Now, there are other towns that will be connected, namely Miramesta and Obsidian Ridge. We are also looking at Brick Bay being connected. There's a couple of other towns, and as well as an underground cavern owned by one of our members, Hexus. He's trying to get underneath Black Rock Cove, which I think is a great idea. I mean, to be underneath and have a caverns, it's a great idea, outstanding idea.
We know that there's undergrounds throughout the whole world of Novia right now. We haven't seen them all, of course, but yes, exactly.
Right. Right, and you know, being a mining capital or the capital city of a mining company, shoot, man, come on, caverns, underground, kind of fits.
And next to a mine, of course. I mean, it would only be fitting.
Right, right. But what will be going on in Black Rock Cove is that, as I said just now, it is the capital of the Britannian Mining Company. All of our members that have tax-free plots will be housed there if they so wish.
Now tell us a little about that real quick, because tell us what you've done for the guild members with Black Rock Cove, unlike other towns we've seen out there.
Oh, well, the first thing is I made sure that BMC was taken care of. That was any members that were in the BMC with a tax-free plot. They were housed. They were given land. Basically, they are given land in Black Rock Cove to place their establishments.
So they don't have to sweat the land rush, the this, the that.
No, you don't. No, if they don't want to participate in the land rush, that takes let the community. BMC's taken care of. Community can participate in the land rush and do their thing. We're taking care of our own over here at this guild. And that is one way that we're doing so. The guild's, like I said before, it's very special to me, and taking care of the members of the guild is something that I believe every guild leader should do. I mean, that should be one of their main focuses, is to make sure that their membership is taken care of. And that's just my opinion.
Now, while you are the guild leader, and I say the guild leader, you are not just a figurehead, but you're not just a leader either. The BMC is a monarchy run as a democracy, as we understand. Is that how we describe it?
That is correct.
And how
That's
about
how it would be described.
How about you and Xavier both talk about this a little, and you know, give the good folks a little idea, because a lot of people are curious. They see. And I know I get a laugh out of it. I joke with people that you can't go 5 feet around here without seeing somebody from the BMC. But explain how that all works and why the BMC is as popular as it is, and you know, the reasoning behind that.
Well, for one, this guild is a guild for the people. There, as you said, and it is true, that it is a monarchy with a democratic process. And when monarchy is said, it means that this guild is in safe hands as far as I am concerned, unless I die, and which we've got a legacy system in place in that unlikely event. Right, we do have a legacy, I guess you could say a line of succession.
So that if you happen to have an accident and die, somebody will actually gain control over the BMC and be able to carry on everything you've done here. Yes, absolutely.
But it is a monarchy because the president of the guild, he is basically the protector of the guild. So he enjoys immunity. He is the head figure of the guild, but meat and potatoes. BMC is divided into 3 different branches. Now, when I created or founded the BMC, I wanted it to be an organization which demanded a organizational chart. And so when I started putting together the organizational chart and the organization as a whole, I split the BMC into 3 separate branches, just as our the government in the United States, and kind of like Parliament is in Great Britain. We have a figurehead, which is this guy.
The Duke.
But I'm just the president.
And
I tell people that all the time.
Now the guy
there
who
are
handles
3 separate branches.
Yes, go ahead. Tell us about the branches.
The 3 separate branches of the guild is the actual mechanism that makes the guild work. You have the legislative branch that is completely enthralled with the lawmaking body of the guild. I appoint the Speaker of the guild, Speaker of the House, as you will. Once he's appointed, he has immunity from me. I can't go tell that man or woman nothing. After I appoint them, that's it. That's it.
They have that job for life until they decide to resign.
They got it. Yeah, yeah. Well, it takes a 2/3 vote by myself and the other branch, which is the judiciary branch. And once that Chief Justice is appointed, that's it. That's it. I can't say another word to that person, period. Their branch is their own. They recruit for their branch. They run their branch however they see fit. I, on the other hand, I am over the executive branch. Now, that creates a checks and balances. Okay, every member of the BMC has a way to contact the legislative branch through its representatives and its senates. Okay, they have a way to contact the judicial branch through the judges, they can file grievances, even if they have grievances against other guild members.
There's a full court system inside the BMC. A lot of people
Right. And then there's the executive branch, which basically takes care of the administrative portion of the guild. We take care of it. You know, we take care of the members. We take care of the administrative portion of the guild. The actual running of the guild is done by the people in those 3 branches. I'm the figurehead or the president of the guild, but I delegate that authority out just as the other heads of the other branches do. I delegate that authority out throughout the branch, hence the vice president, Xavier Starfall.
All right. And let's go ahead and just talk to Xavier here for a second. And Xavier, how you doing today?
Doing very good, Laz. How you doing, sir?
We're doing good. Now, as you've been sitting here listening in, of course, yeah, we do know, and everybody out there knows the Duke, and of course, the idea is to introduce him to the world and let him explain a little bit, because a lot of people have questions. But when it comes down to what we were just talking about, you are the go-to guy for the day-to-day stuff. When Duke's not around and Duke's out taking care of IRL stuff, you are the second in command. You are the vice president of the guild, and you handle a lot of the day-to-day stuff with the membership and guild applications, website, all that good stuff. So tell us a little about that and what you do on your side here in the BMC.
Yeah, so basically just, try to keep the guild running. Basically what I've always described it is, we got the ship, and Zeke is the sails, and I'm just, steering the ship and keeping it off the rocks and keeping it going, but basically dealing with the day-to-day stuff. When we got new members coming in, we have emissaries that are interviewing people, and then we have setting up applications. So Zeke and myself, and also our treasurer Jaron, us 3, we are the ones that usually would look at the applications and approve them. So we do have an application process, and basically just want to make sure that we have good people coming in the guild. We have a very mature players in our guild that are just here to have fun, and main thing is make some gold and enjoy the game. So is our main course goal. So basically, Zeke has a great structure for the guild. So basically, I don't have to think about too much about what do we do here, what do we do there. I just basically have to follow the structure that's already in place and make it happen. So, try to rally the troops sometimes to go to events, do different things. Like the other night we went and wanted to kill the boss troll there down in the Hidden Vale. So got a big group up and went and did that. But just off and on day-to-day stuff is just main thing.
Yeah, that's one of those things that you do handle on the day-to-day basis. You handle the dungeon masters and the emissaries, and you deal with all these other offshoots that as we go. And that was, I believe, a dungeon master run that was done by one of our dungeon masters to get some activity, camaraderie, and of course for new people to come out and see what's going on, show them what they're missing out there in the world, because a lot of the new people spend several weeks coming in and trying to acclimate themselves. And things like this are actually what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, it does. It is a culture shock. Unlike when you're soloing, when you're playing alone, you don't really have an idea about what you want to do. You have an idea about where you want to go. You have an idea of community as far as a community as a whole. But when you actually run into an organization that is set up on a structure, and as Xavier just said, you don't really have to do a lot of thinking. The structure is there, the camaraderie is there, the mentorship is there, the tools are there for you to actually meld into a community within a society. And that in itself is what makes virtual reality reality.
There we go.
You see what I mean?
I do. Okay, so moving on. Again, thank you, Xavier, for that there.
Yes, sir.
So you handle a lot of the day-to-day stuff when Zook's not around, and the guild itself, even from my standpoint, is pretty self-sustaining. I mean, even without you being there, or even without Duke being there, the membership tends to take care of themselves, as it may be.
Yeah, well, I mean, we definitely have a lot of really good people in the BMC. Even new members come in, but there's always someone there to help people out with a hat quest. Hey, where should I go on this level and fight? I mean, there's just like Zeke said, a great camaraderie, and always someone there to help new players coming into the game, which is what we want to do, obviously, especially at this point in the game and pre-alpha, when people are coming into the game, show them how great it's going to be, and so they not only want to stay and play, but up their pledge and just in-game relationships building, and through other communities, through our past relationships with Pax Lair and Port Phoenix, and many other guilds and friends we've had and met, and we're do a lot of different things. Like we said, we have dungeon masters to help lead some in-guild hunts. Also run the every Sunday night we do the gridiron. So some PvP. Of course, there's different RP events we try to get involved in. Obviously, lately we haven't really been as much as we'd like to. Just trying to get going again after a wipe. It takes a lot of building of the guild and the structure to get going, as I'm sure most big guilds know. But yeah, there's just a lot of good people here that just take care of things and just have lots of fun.
Well, one of the things I love, not about just the BMC, but the community in general, is their dedication to the community. And that there and being, we just had a wipe last week, as we all know. And you see how this community comes together and just rebuilds from scratch. And here we are, just a little over a week later, and you look around the world, and aside from the fact that we've rebuilt places like the NPC towns of Owl's Head, Adoris, and Kingsport, with the advent of 113 player-owned towns entering the game, people are crazy busy getting those built. as well. And it's just amazing to see how everybody comes together, just not at individual guilds, but as a community to help rebuild this world every time we go through this change.
Yeah. Getting back to Black Rock Cove, there are a few.
Let's move on back to that.
Let me give some kudos to some of our members out there. Xavier being one of them. He'll definitely be in Black Rock Cove conducting good business. James Murphy is another. He'll be there in Black Rock Cove. He'll be running business as well. Onyx and Jade. Those two are two great members of the guild. They own a town called Cottage Grove. They have a shop called Treasure Trove that they will be servicing the community with. Put out great wares. Drake Adis and Win Silvermoon, great members. They will have a shop out there, Paradoxal Palace. They also have an island called the Isle of the Blue Rose. Those guys are
and that's located
phenomenal
right
players.
off of
that's right there by Black Rock Cove.
Exactly.
I mean, it's right there. It's one of the islands. We've got members that are these are loyal members. I mean, these guys are trying to service the community and help society, and they are just phenomenal players. Now, I don't mean to cheapen any of the other membership of BMC because they are all obviously valuable. They're valuable to the guild. They're valuable to the structure of the community. They're valuable to the structure of the society that the community serves. But you run across in your online gaming career, and mine has been extensive now. Like I said, I got started with UO in 1998. You run across certain people that step up to the plate and they get behind an idea, they get behind a logic, and they make a change, and they make a change for a good, and they do it not for themselves. These are selfless people, you know. That's not the right word. They are giving. They are very giving.
Well, it's a little of both.
Right.
Because they're not self-serving, but they're actually helping the community as well as, you know.
Right, right. And so I wanted to give kudos out to those members that Jaron Swartzhar is another. He has been a great member. He's our treasurer.
We spoke about him earlier.
Dynamite.
Do we want to take a moment and explore Jaron for a minute?
Sure.
Now, Jaron is our treasury financier. He is a numbers wizard, and what this guy can't do with numbers.
I'm gonna tell you what. Phenomenal.
I'm going to drop, I guess, a little bomb because NBNN has been poised with this for the longest time, and once we get a grip, well, I shouldn't say once we get a grip, once we go live, we've got a very major grip on what's going on out there. NBNN will have a stock ticker running on the news stream, and I'm going to be basing that stock ticker on the prices that are run by Jaron, because he has got a half dozen people running around the world doing nothing but gathering prices throughout the market.
And if I may, that is part of that structure. Okay, now Jaron falls in the executive branch. He is my treasurer.
Correct.
And I mean, I have a vice president, obviously, that's here with us today. I have a treasurer, which is Jaron. I also have a chief of staff, which is Woodrow Beefcakes. He is basically over the militia of the BMC. That comprises basically of a military. We also have a director, and that director he's my covert guy. He don't get out in the sunlight much. He stays pretty much cloak and dagger behind the shadows. He's watching. And he's got people out there watching.
Well, it's one good thing about having 500 plus sets of eyes out there in the world as well.
Right. He's watching. So, and he reports directly to me. So that means it's not my own eyes seeing you. It's eyes I own. You know, if I take away, you know, a skit there from Game of Thrones. But then we have Jade. Jade is the guild steward, and then we have emissaries. These are all officers. These are officers of the BMC, and they are in the executive branch. Now, there are two other officers. That is the Chief Justice, which is over her separate branch. That is Abercrombie Cloud. And then we have James Dean, who is also an officer, and he is over the entirety of the legislative branch. And those two are the only members that are completely immune from me. Once those two are appointed, that's it. I mean, that's it. I mean, in fact, we had a meeting where James Dean actually exercised his right to tell me to shut up, and he did. I mean, he threw a bill out there that he needed me to. Well, first, the way it works is that if he introduces something, an idea for a law, first it has to go through Abercrombie. Correct. Abercrombie has veto. She has veto power. She does not have ratification power, but she does have veto power. If she doesn't agree with what James Dean sends, she can shoot it down right there. Now, if she agrees with it, it comes then to me, and I have ratification power. If I agree with what James Dean has submitted, then I can either veto it or I can ratify it, and vice versa. If I come up with an idea, I have to submit it to Abercrombie. She is the Chief Justice. If she agrees with it, then she passes it on to James Dean, who also has ratification and veto power. So it's that checks and balances.
Yes. Yes.
But now James Dean, he submitted an idea, and Jack Frost had helped him with it, and that's another member that's an awesome member, is Jack Frost.
He's a member of the NBNN team, as you know as well.
Yeah.
He's my partner in crime over here.
He's an awesome member. He came up with an idea for some legislation to be passed in the BMC. Abercrombie agreed with it. It came to me. I didn't agree with it. I vetoed it. But then James Dean got on the podium. He started talking about, well, this is what we had in mind, guys. He's explaining this to the guild. We got like 4 bleachers out there filled with guild members. James Dean saying, well, here's the idea behind it. And after I heard it, I was like, well, now wait a minute. Maybe I vetoed that a little too quick. And James Dean's like, no, sir, you don't have the authority. And I'm like, phew, he's right.
Yeah. So, that actually does work. And now a lot of people will ask this question: why go through the trouble of putting an organizational structure like that, and why is it needed, and why is it necessary? And oh, that's too much trouble for a game. And I've heard several different iterations of that kind of, and I'm like, you all don't understand. And until you see it actually function and understand that, when I tell, I am also an emissary, so I'm out there recruiting when I'm not out. For those people who don't know, Lazarus of NBNN, this is Lazarus Long of BMC's day job. I actually have a job in the game running around reporting the news. I am not a miner. I am not a tailor. I dabble. I own a store. But my calling seems to have been running around reporting the news, checking out on things. So when you see Lazarus as NBNN, that is actually Lazarus Long doing his job in the game, for those who are confused about the two. Right. So yeah, so as an emissary, I tell people, we've got 500 members, and they go, what? And I go, yeah, you don't understand. This isn't just, you joined up in the game, and they ask me, well, why do I have to fill out the membership application, and why do we have to do this? I says, you'll understand once you get past this point and you see us actually in full functionality.
Of course. Well, you asked the question.
Yes.
Why go through the trouble? Listen, when you're a gamer and you don't run bars, you don't go running around going crazy with, doing things that put your life in danger. You have a family, you have a hobby. Why go through the trouble? Without naming any names. And I'm not going to name names because that's not me. But all of us have had experience in a guild where you had a guy sitting up there at the top, barking orders, giving directives, being rude, and
Being a dick in general.
basically driving people to the edge of sanity. Why go through the trouble? Because there needs to be a guild out there. And I realized this back in the early 2000s. There needs to be a guild out there that is for the people, ran by the people. And that's what BMC is. Anybody can be in the BMC. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you report the news. It doesn't matter if you kill dragons on a daily basis. It doesn't matter if you sit around and blow on a flute. There's a place for you, and there's a place where there is some good structure and where you have voice. That's the key. You have to create a structure to where every member in that guild has a way to have their voice heard. And if you don't have that, you don't have nothing. You got a dictatorship for how long? You know,
like I said, you've got a dick up the top. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have nothing.
But we go back to our lovely Miss Amber Rain with that "Don't be a dick." As we passed that around here in Shrouded Avatar. That is a mantra here in Shrouded Avatar, and now people know why we go through, or you've gone through all the trouble to build what you've built.
That's right. Any questions?
It's been quiet out there. The most fun we're having here is Zale photobombing us, dropping one-liners. I don't know if you've been paying attention to your game screen here. He dropped the thermometer/pen joke there just a couple minutes ago. He passed out from having too many poisonous mushrooms, apparently. But yes, we have questions available. If anybody's got questions out there in the stream, we have joining us today, of course, legendary neurotoxins out there. Kendrick Barrow's out there. I see Catnip Games listed in our chat. I see Blake Blackstone out there. And those are just the folks I see. Cam 2009 Cam. Welcome everybody to the stream. If any of you guys got questions, even people who are watching here in game, sitting in front of us, you all got questions in game, feel free to ask.
Yeah, I mean, it took 17 years to get me here the first time. There ain't no telling how long it'll be.
That was my next. That was my lead in, of course, while we're fielding questions, looking for anybody out there. But now, 17 years in UO, and we're not gonna get in depth, yes, because you guys are still active out in the UO community.
Oh yeah.
But now, Richard announces that he's going to make the spiritual successor to UO, and like myself and thousands of other people out there, if you build it, they will come, is the way I like to put it, because
that's what was said to him.
Everything that, yes, exactly. I want to get to that in a second. But everything I'm reading out there, and of course I try and do my due diligence by checking facts and looking up everything I can about it, was that this game is not being built for the masses. This game's specific target are people like yourself, myself. We're old RPGers. We're people who started with a piece of paper, some dice, and a pen and paper, you know, sitting down and doing it the old school way, and we wanted to role play, and you know, I laughed. There's that video on the BMC site. You know the video I'm referring to, the role play video. I want to get up and do this, you know. But anyway, you're getting off track here. The game isn't for the mass market right off the bat, and the way it's being designed is it's being designed by us, for people like us, and people who are really interested in this. But of course the saying was, if you build it, they will come, and of course, yes, here we are. So now the transition from UO to Shrouded Avatar, you want to tell us a little about that, from bringing a body of a guild from one platform to the next?
He's going to kill me.
Well,
In 20,
you don't have to go into all the particulars, but just give us. Well, I'm just gonna leave you to it. He can confirm, deny, or reiterate that on the 20th when I sit down and speak with him.
he sure can. In 2011, sitting at my dining room table in Paris, Texas, well, Reno, right outside of Paris. I was playing UO one night, and I don't know why Richard came across my mind. I don't know why. Everything that had happened with Electronic Arts and the way that I saw Electronic Arts taking UO, and I won't say that I disagreed with it, but there were some things that I wasn't,
Yeah. We all know the story for those of us who follow what happened there.
So I don't know why. I don't know why. But I just said, you know what, this at some point it's got to stop. It's got to stop because the RPG and the MMO world is dying. God, it's just dying. I typed a Facebook message, and I sit down and never got a response. But I just basically said that if you build it, they will come. Even the players, I felt like at that time, I felt like in 2011 that the players were needing something, and they would be willing. I knew I would be willing. I knew there was other people that I had spoke with that would be willing to pay for it, to pay to have it done. And so in 2012, there was a interview with Marcus Eikenberry, aka Marky Dragon.
Marky Dragon, right?
And I had gotten in touch with Mr. Eikenberry on Facebook, and I had brought up the idea to him, and I'm not taking any credit whatsoever because I'm sure I was just one bird of 1,000 birds.
You were just one of a million little bugs in his brain. Yes,
I'm sure that there was just. I'm sure that there was chirpers worldwide, but I had gotten in touch with Marcus Eikenberry. Right. And I told Marcus, I said, look, you're the guy with the video. You're the guy with the connections. I said, maybe you should, talk, do your thing.
Nudge him in a direction.
Yeah, Next thing you know, there's an interview out on YouTube that Lord British shall walk the streets of Britannia again. And lo and behold, I shit you not, tears came to my eyes. I was like, I have waited for this. So when it was officially announced, well, actually before it was officially announced, from what I understand, they were doing some kind of, it kind of throwed me off. He throwed me off a little bit, and I'm not a stalker or anything like that, but I have kept up with what Richard's doing.
Yes.
And so
a lot of people follow what he does.
Right. So when he started going to the Facebook platforms and working with the Facebook games like Farmville, or he didn't work with Farmville, but he was like, I think it was the poker thing. He was doing that, and he was experimenting with that. And I realized, I got to thinking up here in this noodle. I said, I know what he's doing. He's testing, because he came out with Ultimate RPG, and he announced that Ultimate RPG, and I immediately became a friend of it. I was like, or liked it. I was like, I know what that is. That's Anyway, then next thing you know, the announcement of Shroud of the Avatar, and it was like, this is it. And then that's when I started telling everybody in UO to answer your question, telling the BMC members and telling people in UO, get ready, because here it comes. And so the migration of the Britannian Mining Company from UO, which I told Richard in 2011. Now, like I said, he can either confirm or deny it, but I know who I am, and I know
Well,
where
yeah,
my
yeah.
heart is.
We all know that
I,
you guys talk. You talk to him. You talk to Star on a pretty regular basis, via emails and
but
such.
I told Richard that if he would do it, if he would build it, or start it to getting built, I would bring the Britannian Mining Company from EA. I would bring them home. I would bring the
Amen to
Britannian
that.
Mining Company home. And what I mean by that is Origin Systems, in my book, created the Britannian Mining Company. So their rightful place, the BMC's rightful place, is in the kingdom that Richard Garriott is the sovereign of. And so I told Richard that if he get it built, I would bring the entirety of the BMC over from UO to this new creation. And that is how the transition was made. But how did it go? How smooth was it? Slicker and snot on a glass doorknob, because I was that far ahead of the game.
Now we see on a daily basis players still coming in to this day, and the migration is happening as we go along. Every day we see players that come in and go, "Oh, I've been with Zeke since way back 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Been there." Brickbat for one. Brickbat just recently came and joined the ranks here again. I know he was here early on, and now he's back again. And another active member of the community in the BMC. He's always out there lending everybody a hand. A little kudos to him as well. And he's a wealth of information when it comes to both sides of that coin.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Especially when it comes to history. Brickbat has got quite a bit of the history that when we need something, we go, "Hey, Brick, tell us about this," and he'll go ahead and he'll give us a whole rundown of it, which is really great. And I'm surprised that nobody has got a question for the Duke out there.
Well, I probably just made a whole bunch of people mad. I didn't mean to, but
No, by no means. As again, and and
I have. And another thing is that I have stayed in the shadows and not come out and spoke to the public at all.
You're one of probably a couple dozen people who are sending the same type of messages out. Going, if you build it, they will come.
Sure.
I'm sure it wasn't built on the promise that the BMC would come on over, because that's just not why you do something. But I'm sure that just hearing
I promise.
But hearing that is something to egg somebody even like Richard on to go, well, if that many people are really interested in revisiting all this, why not?
Right, and that was the logic that I was acting under back then. That logic alone was what I acted. If enough people spoke up and got in behind it, that's why you saw Kickstarter. They only asked for $1 million.
Yeah.
They wound up with $1.9 million. Now, if that wasn't proof, then
that's all I needed to see. When I saw that, and I kicked myself in the rear to this day, because I says, I'll have plenty of time to get into this later. Had I understood that, what I would be getting into at the Kickstarter level back then. But I followed all the emails up until December last year, when I started seeing messages. Oh, we have a game. We have this. We have places thrown around now, instead of just, okay, we have a concept. We have a little square box. We have a chicken. As it progressed and grew. And that's when I said, now's my time to get in here, because this is where I want to be,
Right.
Now, I do have some interesting stuff coming in here, if we want to pause for just a minute.
Sure.
Kendrick Darrow goes, he's the keeper of the mining song, too. Is that
what?
The mining song?
Talking about Brickbat.
Oh, Brickbat, okay. I wasn't getting the drift there, so I thought that might have been something for the Duke. And then we have Jaron chiming in. Hello, Jaron, and thanks for... and Jaron says...
Don't want to mention... Don't... Okay.
Oh, no, of course. Jaron says, there has been a bevy of girlfriends since he's known you. What's your secret?
Oh, my God.
What's your secret? And then he's got a follow-up question. The follow-up question is, why can't he keep them?
Well,
Oh, yeah, okay. No holes barred. That was your call.
well, yeah, that's true. Girlfriends. Well, I just,
Does it
I've
have
been
any?
married
Does it have
3 times.
anything to do with the game? Let me ask you that.
I had a situation in 2008 where I had a girlfriend that got into UO uh, with me, and ooh, that didn't mix well at all. Uh, that was the last time I did that. But as far as the girlfriends, uh, I wouldn't necessarily. That's kind of a hard question because I don't know who would be watching this, but yes,
It's gonna
I've
be
had
on
some girls.
YouTube. It's gonna be out there for the world to see. So, if you're gonna
Well,
skirt around an issue, you better dance lightly, my friend.
big, little, short, and tall. I love them all.
There you go. Enough said.
Yeah, it's not that I couldn't keep them. It's that you know, I know what I'm looking for, as everybody should, uh, and there's some regrets. Everybody has that. Uh, I loved them and wanted to make something work with them, uh, but sometimes personalities clash, and you don't you don't think about it in the moment.
Here's
You
Al.
make
Go ahead.
you make decisions in the moment that cost you in the long run. Uh,
I'm just loving Zale come back and forth here. Don't mind me. He's been a
but
comedian there. Now, Xavier, you can just ask that one out loud here. The question from Abercrombie.
Oh, yep. She was just wanting to know your UO name, so which I obviously know that. But if you want to answer it, what's your for the BMC?
Sebastian.
Sebastian. Yep, that was the character that I had mentioned.
Now, the original founder of the BMC was Drago III, and I retired him from being the president of the BMC when I built Sebastian and made Sebastian my jack of all trades, which means I built jewelry and all kinds of stuff. The guy can make anything. I made him the president of the BMC, and I put Drago III in as my PvPer, well, PvMer. He was basically a dungeon crawler, and that's my character's names, my two mains anyway.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and just get to a couple of quick points because we're going to be running short on time here. I do have to attend the dinner this evening. So, Sebastian. Tell us a little about Sebastian and how that's carried over to now.
Sebastian, he's a merchant. He's a merchant at heart. There's a lot of people that may see this that has done lots of business with Sebastian. I had a compound basically in the Grove of Love, just west of Brick, through the Mountain Pass.
Another fine site.
Right, and I had a shop in that compound where I waited on my customers on a one-on-one basis. Now, of course, I had vendors. I had vendors down below. You had to take stairs to go up to my shop. But people would come to my shop and they would request custom armor and weapons. And I would build them for them, one-on-one. I had a window, actual desk that I sit down on one side. They sit down on the other. They explained to me in detail what they wanted. And I gave them customer service, which you don't find very often in a game, where somebody will actually sit down, take the time with you, and discuss with you what it is that you want. I mean, and make it the final goal that when they walk away from that transaction, they feel, that place really done me well. And that's what I wanted. That's the name I wanted to build for myself. That's the name that I wanted to build for the BMC, and that is what I'm bringing over into Shroud of the Avatar, because that is what I want in Black Rock Cove. is where people will actually sit down. If they're open to business, sit down with that customer. When a person comes to Black Rock Cove, I want them to know that they are walking inside the city limits of nothing but 100% pure customer service. And when they walk into a shop, in Black Rock Cove, they can expect the finest goods, the finest service, and that they will actually, they're not a number. Okay, they are a customer and will be treated as such.
And I definitely understand that with the creation of the shop that you see here that we're sitting at.
Yes.
This is a far cry from my chair sitting on somebody else's property. It wasn't even my chair, for crying out loud, but you all know I made a name for myself just sitting here in Owl's Head, greeting people as they walk by, having chats. And the one thing I've come to find out, and I had to learn this quickly, is that if you're not there to make a sale, people are going to go look someplace else. You know, they look at my vendor and they go, well, I saw it down the street for so-and-so price. Well, when I'm sitting there, I can go, well, hey, I can give it to you for that price, or I can make a wheeling deal, or I can, you know.
That's right.
I said, you're looking for something. So I try and now spend, which does take away from my adventuring time, but I didn't come here to really, I came here to get them warm, fuzzy feelings of the community, to be able to be a crafter and just sit here and run a business and sit in town and be a socialite, and, you know, basically what I'm doing now, you know.
And let me tell you something, that spirit that you're talking about, that adventurous spirit that you're talking about, running good business, especially online and inside an MMO, that, my friend, is an adventure in itself.
Oh, yes it is. Yes it is. Steep learning curve it is, but we're rolling with the punches over here. And now, bringing the service and stuff, I've had a little preview of your house. You're actually building a service window, if you may, a service desk.
Yes.
So you're not just going to have a shop. You're going to have a office, you know, an open shop area where when somebody comes in, they can walk up to your counter and go, you know, that's what we need.
Yeah,
we need a little bell in the game so that, you know, people come up, they can ring a bell to get your attention.
You bet. Well, see, that's the thing is, yes, I've got a shop there. Yes, there's a vendor there selling things in Black Rock Point right now. But in later releases, and the reason that I took out my window here temporarily is because I don't know if the developers know this yet or not. And if you're watching, heads up. When a character's on a public property and the public property is sitting right adjacent to a private property that has got the doors locked, if there is a hole in the fence, a player can jump from that public ground onto the private ground and run till a gate stops them. I don't know if they know that or not, but yeah, that was done the other day.
Well, they do
so
now.
I took the window out and put the wall back up so people couldn't just run into my crafting area.
Gotcha.
But eventually, as these things get fixed, yes, there will be a customer service window there. And when you come to my shop, you can go around the corner of my shop. And if I'm there in my crafting area, all you got to do is walk up to the window, and I'll come sit down and we can talk about whatever it is that you need.
I got a question for you. Somebody wants to know, this is coming from Arkham Vogason, and they want to know, what was your MOS when you were in the Army?
92 Yankee, Unit Supply Specialist.
And there you go, Arkham. There's your answer. Now, Zale, of course, has been photobombing us here, and I'm loving him. Zale's a good friend of mine here in game. He's always spent quite a lot of time visiting, hanging out with me up here. And if you saw what he wrote there, it's a very true statement. It's better to be a wonderful business at a fair price than a fair business at a wonderful price. And he's absolutely right when it comes to that. He's had some good tidbits there. And on that note, Xavier, you have anything else you want to throw in here for us on the business end with Black Rock Cove and all that?
Well, just referring back to you and there, in those days, we always looked at the BMC. What I did, it was always a consistent place you could go and buy resources and everything. So that's, one of our obviously main goals here is to have a place where players can come and buy resources at any given time or day. And always there be something there for them to get. So, just consistency, and there again, and Jaron, our treasurer, has, this same ideology, just to, we're not trying to get rich off other players. We just want to provide people resources and, at a fair price. So, and that's just our main goal to do. And one of our little mottos is, for out gathering is, talk softly but carry a big pickaxe. So I'd like to leave it with that.
There we go. There we go.
I love it.
All righty. Well, thank you for that, Xavier. Now, Duke, I'm going to have to wind this down here, as I've got to again get ready for a dinner engagement this evening.
All right.
But it's been wonderful having you over here, and of course we've got some other things. We've got some other things planned for the future. We've got a couple things in talks, like the Duke's Corner. We will have little meet and greets, once a month, twice a month. We haven't quite figured that out yet, as well as bringing in some of our other ranking officers. We'll get them to just say hello to the world and introduce them to. And thank you, Blake.
I'll tell you. This is.
Hold on.
This is.
Jaron's interjecting out there. He says, "Not true. We will get rich. We just won't bend anybody over while doing it."
Well, that is true. That was one of the things that I told any member that came into the BMC and UO. I told them within a week they'd have their first million, and I was never proven wrong. And the way that we did that was through the strength of collective bargaining. And basically, when you walk into Rock Cove, you're going to be walking into nothing but just a gigantic bazaar. I mean, you're going to run into that's what BMC is. I mean, we are there to bring to market
those commodities.
Richard said it best when he introduced the BMC, when he gave us our royal warrant, an economic powerhouse. And you can rest assured, ladies and gentlemen, that when you walk into Rock Cove, if there's another price out there that's beating us, let us know, because it won't for long. And yes. you can almost guarantee that our good treasurer Jaron, he's hot on the ball with making sure that all the numbers are correct, and that all of the time and the labor put into a certain item or a certain piece or a certain gathering is Johnny on the spot. And I implore you to bring him onto your show and introduce him to the world and let him talk, because he's got good ideas. And the thing is that it's okay to do that, because even though he may be the BMC's treasurer, those prices that we come up with at our General Assembly, which is a week from today, as a matter of fact, where the entirety of the public is the BMC will be holding its first ever General Assembly in Shroud of the Avatar. Yes. And what the General Assembly does is that the members get together and we sit down and we discuss, what are we going to offer the community? What are we going to offer this society? We're going to agree upon what we sell, and we're going to agree upon what it is sold, the rate that it's sold at. Everybody in the BMC has a voice. The public is encouraged to be there. I'm sure some of our members would enjoy being lobbied by you. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they have a vote. Our members have a vote, and that vote, when somebody floors a price and somebody seconds the motion, a vote will be held, and that price will either be voted up or voted down. And if it's voted up, That is the price. That is the BMC price
until the next General Assembly.
Until the next General Assembly, correct.
Now this was
a big thing in UO.
Now this is to keep it fair for everybody across the board there.
Sure.
Sure.
But that's why when in UO we held a General Assembly, people, as Xavier was saying a few minutes ago, we were the standard. What is the BMC selling at? What has the General Assembly came to? Every time we held a General Assembly, people set up, those eyebrows raised, because they knew when we walked out of that assembly, it's like the Vatican. Once those cardinals walk out,
once you see the smoke rising from the exactly.
It's done. It's a done deal.
Now this is a topic we could go on for hours on, so I'm just going to nip this one.
All right.
Yeah, because we could go on and on and on here. And again, this is one thing that also helps keep things in the market stable. Jaron, I know you're watching, so I'll be catching up with you later to see if you're going to accept our invite to come on the air and talk a little bit about finances and MMOs. That's a topic upon itself that we can spend a couple hours on, but especially here inside the game, and how that's going to relate not just to the BMC, but to the general community and world here inside of Novia. That's inside of Novia. So let me wrap this up with you guys, gentlemen. Duke, thank you very much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And Xavier, thanks for just sitting in, listening in, and giving us the commentary. We also appreciate having you there. As you guys know, as well as the rest of the world, whenever we are streaming, we do have the phone lines. You can call in 872-LAZ-NBNN. Give me a call when we're streaming. You can ask questions. You can ask questions in Twitch chat. You can write me an email at news@nbnn.info. And if you got questions about anything here in the interview, I'll be more than happy to pass them on and get those questions answered if there's anything that you didn't hear here. Once again, gentlemen, I'm going to thank you for joining us. And we're going to go ahead and get out of here for now. This is Laz with NBNN. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed the interview. Stay tuned to NBNN for more news, sports, game shows, entertainment, and just crazy happenings as they happen here in Shroud of the Avatar. This is Laz. Thanks for watching, folks.